Hi, this is Muhammad Ali, and today we are talking to Andrew David Simpson, who is a musician and also a walker. Who has walked around 6,500 miles till date across the world, mainly in US and Canada. And recently, he's just done with his walking around Narmada, as we call it, Narmada Parikrama, which is how many miles?
Well, the total length for the entire parikrama is around 4,000 kilometers, but
okay.
I did only a smaller section of that, just 500 kilometers.
Okay, so David has just done he's just finished his Narmada Parikrama, and what is interesting is that one of the aims of his David's Narmada Parikrama is to raise money for Bhopal
Yes.
cause.
Yes.
And so David, tell us about that. Particularly this walk of yours.
Yeah. Well, I've done all these other long walks, and people always ask me, why are you doing it? And my answer is always just because it's fulfilling for me. But people always wanted me to be associated with some cause. So then I thought, well, what's a cause that I'm passionate about? And I had already been to India before. And I have a friend in the US whose name is Shrikant. And I knew that his uncle, his name is Satyu Sarangi, ran the clinic for Bhopal victims and provides free medical care to them. And he was just named Indian of the Year in the Week magazine. So he's kind of a prestigious figure, and so I have this connection with my friend and him since it's my friend's uncle. And the more I researched about the Bhopal gas tragedy and how it's not just something that happened 26 years ago, but is something that is an ongoing problem, and maybe even worse now than it was when it first happened. I got really, invested in it, and I started to really care about it. So I thought, for this walk, whatever I do in India, I'd like to raise some money for their clinic. So this happens a lot in the United States. People go on a bicycle ride, or people do a marathon or whatever. This is on a slightly bigger scale, but still people do these physical activities, and then they ask friends and families to donate some money towards that. So right now I'm trying to raise about 1,000 English pounds, or what translates to right now I think about 1,500 American dollars for their clinic. So it's just my way of doing something that I enjoy and that I find fulfilling, and at the same time hopefully helping out a friend with a cause that he's really passionate about and that I have come to care about as well. So
tell us about this walk. When did you start this walk, Narmada Parikrama? When did you start, and how many kilometers did you travel?
Well, I started, November 17th, which is an auspicious date. Not everyone starts then. You have the Babas and the Sadhus who are walking this parikrama. And a lot of them would like to start on November 17th, but for whatever reason they can't. But I did, and it was just kind of coincidental. I didn't know that was the auspicious date to start, but that's when I ended up starting. So there was some bizarre coincidences like that kept occurring throughout the walk. So I started November 17th, I ended December 17th, so it was about 30 days. And what I discovered was that this walk was, I wanted something different that was more challenging to me than what I had done in America, because I had become very comfortable with that style of walking. And I found that it was very difficult to walk on the Narmada, more difficult than I ever imagined. And
in what ways? In what ways?
I'm used to being free. I'm used to being free in America and making all my own choices. And walking with these sadhus, and I felt like I did have to walk with them, or else
you walk with sadhus,
yes,
saints.
Yes.
Okay.
And if I wanted to go alone, but I felt like if I didn't walk with them, I wouldn't know the way. And it was actually quite dangerous. And there's people out there who they have you in the middle of the wild, and they can take advantage of you or whatever. And I feel like it might be possible to go alone, but I felt like my story about this walk somehow was in the hands of these sadhus, and that if I didn't walk with them, I wasn't going to have the experience that I was supposed to have.
Mm-hmm.
So I was walking with them, and you have to behave like a sadhu, and you have to be as austere and as disciplined as a sadhu. And so you have to wake up at 5 in the morning after you've been freezing all night in your blanket, sleeping on the cold stone floor, and go and bathe in the river, which is also freezing. And you have to be comfortable going all day without food and still walking, 10 to 15 miles. And you have to engage in meditation and chanting and all that, which is interesting for me because I came to all this from a standpoint of kind of a skeptic or a secular person, and I didn't necessarily want all these trappings of religious stuff, but nevertheless I was thrust into it. And I think that's kind of what's interesting about my story, is a lot of people come to India and they're on a spiritual quest or something, and I wasn't on a spiritual quest, I just wanted to walk, but nevertheless I was immersed in a spiritual quest, whether I wanted to or not. So,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. So
And it's also kind of dangerous along the Narmada. You have, sometimes you're walking through areas with tigers. And
tigers?
Yes, and I didn't see any, but you know that they're there. And sometimes the local people are warning you about that. And then sometimes you are in areas where there's bandits, or what you might call dacoits.
Mm-hmm.
And I did run into them one time, and that's another reason why I'm glad I was with the sadhus, because they kind of took care of that.
Okay.
So these guys wanted to steal something from us, but they wanted to also see if someone else had already stolen from us in the jungle.
Okay.
Yes, they asked us, have other thieves already stolen from you? And the sadhus simply said yes, and then they more or less left us alone, but still we were very much on our toes the whole day, and we got up very early in the morning to avoid those people.
David, sorry to interrupt. What is new about this walk? You said that you observed the interiors of India, particularly areas which is usually not open for ordinary Indians, like Adivasis. Normal Indians don't go, even tourists.
Right, exactly.
I mean, they don't know about them. So.
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting because it's kind of difficult to really get off the map in India. There's kind of this wilderness in India that's impenetrable. And I think it's easy to do that in America, but less so in India. And I think a lot of people, even me, think that they've gotten off the map, but they really haven't. And really, when you step off the map as far as I did, then you start to question whether you really wanted to go off the map in the first place, because it's very remote, and then there are elements of danger, and there's just no services at all that you might be used to, and you feel very vulnerable. But it's interesting because yes, you're seeing the Adivasis, and you're seeing these huts perched on hillsides, and I kind of thought from my first trip in India that this kind of village didn't exist, this kind of picturesque National Geographic type village that a lot of people visualize before they come to India. But really, you don't ever see that. But really, you see this in the jungle, where there's no road access, there's no infrastructure, there's no schools, there's no police, and you see the indigenous people living there. You see this perfectly preserved traditional culture, that's been pretty much unspoiled by development or by the Western world, and people that have never seen a white person before, so they don't really know what to make of me,
Yeah, but you're a musician also, you have composed a song for Bhopal Victims.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so can you just...
Well, what's nice about walking is, of course, I want to be around a guitar all the time, and I want to be writing songs all the time, but I can't really carry one with me. It's just too burdensome for me. And
but when did you compose that song?
Yeah, so it's nice because then you come off of a walk like the one that I did from Mexico to Canada, which takes 5 to 6 months, and you haven't played it all, and you get home and songs just start pouring out of you because it's all bottled up inside. So I only had a couple days in between that trip and when I left for India, and during those 2 days I didn't intend to write a song for Gopal. But nevertheless, when I started playing my guitar, a song came out, and I thought, well, this is my only chance to record this, because I'm leaving tomorrow to go to India. So I recorded it, and I was really happy with it, and I think a lot of other people were happy with it as well. So I think that was also a nice little bit of insurance. It's like, even if this walk doesn't work out at all, I've at least given them something in the form of this song, and hopefully that garners them some attention or some sympathy or something, you know.
That's good. That's good. Actually, even the song is good. Like,
Thank you.
I have listened to the song. So,
Yeah.
okay. And you said that you're planning to write a book.
Yeah, I'd
All
like
these
to.
experiences.
I mean, I think since I was a kid, it was always my aspiration to be a writer, you know. But I never really had a good subject, and people always asked me, aren't you going to write a book about walking from Mexico to Canada? And I thought, no, not really. I didn't really have anything to say about it that I thought would be that interesting. But this experience, I think, is very interesting. And I think it's something new, it's something really original. And I think there's a lot of comedy out there, as well as a lot of drama, you know. A lot of serious things happen, but also a lot of funny things. And you've got this cultural clash, you know, between me and kind of adapting to this world, you know. So I think, yeah, I'd like it to be something that entertains, that educates, and yeah.
And you said that, you know, I mean, a part of this book's earning will go to Bhopal.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I'd like to continue contributing to them because I think, you know, especially going out and speaking to people, it really resonates more with people if I'm walking for some sort of cause, you know, and if I'm selling like an album of music or I have my book for sale, I think I ultimately do better if a certain percentage is going to a charity, and then that charity also does better. So it's beneficial for both of us, you know. So, yeah.
Okay, so you're off to Missouri now, like,
Yeah.
there you're planning to write a book.
Yeah, I really enjoy Missouri, and it kind of has this reputation as a tacky tourist place for rich Delians, which there is that side of it, but there's also another side of it that's just very laid back and quite cultural, and I kind of have found a second home there in a way. Like, this will be my 4th trip there, and now I'm going to be kind of more stable there and have an apartment and have my own space, and I'm looking forward to just being stable, because really for the past 8 months, you know, if you include the walking trip that I did before coming to India, I've just been moving around every day, just moving, and so I'm looking forward to just being in one place.
Just this last question, Andrew. You said that you know, I mean, in India, you found India much more tolerant than US. In what way? You said, right?
Well,
what way is
I
that?
think, you know, you hear that there's tensions in India between, let's say, Hindus and Muslims, right? And I think the view of most Americans would be that there's kind of just outbursts of violence all the time, and that no Hindu is hanging out with any Muslim, you know? But then you come to India, and I've never seen any outbursts of violence. Of course, that's happening, but it's interesting to me. You see, you know, Hindu and Muslim friends just walking around, no big deal, you know, living side by side. And I just thought that was surprising, and it kind of contradicted this reputation that India has of, you know, kind of this never-ending, you know, bloodshed between two ethnic groups.
Okay. Well, as we were talking, you said that in India, at least, you have this like that, you know, I mean, you get to interact with people. You know, I mean, when we were talking about stereotypes about Muslim, particularly Muslim stereotypes, you said that in India, at least, you get to meet people. I mean, Hindus and Muslims, there's lots of interaction going on. In US, Muslim stereotypes gain much more acceptance and, you know, wider acceptance, and it's a bit difficult also because you don't have that much Muslim voices and Muslim interaction with Muslim people.
So I think so, yeah, because most people don't have any Muslim friends, you know, and so their only source of information is the media. And so in a way, you can't blame Americans for harboring anti-Muslim sentiment, because really the only thing they think of when they think Muslims is 9/11, and then everything that was, you know, broadcast about Muslims after that. And I think just like in India, you know, it's great for the media to even just put a Muslim's face on the news, even if it's a completely innocent person, even if it's just someone who a bit of suspicion has been cast on this person or something. They're automatically guilty, you know, both in the eyes of Indians and Americans. That's how it is in the media. But in India, I didn't really even know many Muslims until I came to India. And then you realize that, you know, they're totally I don't know, it sounds silly to even just say normal people, but that's true. There's nothing that exceptional or extraordinary about a Muslim any more than someone who's Hindu or Christian, These are just normal people going about normal lives, and I'm actually a Canadian citizen, but I say I'm American because I've lived there almost my entire life, and never has a Muslim had any problem with that, I think all the Indian Muslims that I've met are just so tolerant of my background, so why I have to return that respect and in turn be very respectful of them, Yes.
Okay. Thanks a lot, David.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks for your interview.